It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Hey, happy Thursday, everybody, and thank you very much for listening, watching, downloading, however you consume Two Guys and a Goalie. Thank you very much for doing it. If you are watching the live stream a little bit earlier than usual, Nielsen, Gager, and Cass with you here on a Thursday. It is game day, Oilers versus the Sharks. Lots to get to, both on that front and around the league as well. And, of course, Two Guys and a Goalie, as always, is brought to you by our friends at CoolBet. When you sign up for an account, use the code 2GUYS, the word 2 and the number guys. And Chris Abbott from CoolBet is going to pop by a little bit later on. We got Gager reading some mean tweets for a couple of tickets to the roast of Gager coming up a little bit later on as well. Man, I'll just say this. Let's just start here. Cash, your hair is on point today, buddy. You got to be feeling pretty good about this hair day, man. My goodness.
Yeah, it's a good hair day, even though it's starting to get a little long here. You can't really see it's starting, it's getting to the point where I almost need to get a cut. So, but yeah, it was one of those days when it goes easy too. It's like your hair it happens quick. It's like you're not fighting with it. It's just an easy hair day. So it was a good one today.
I can see the steam coming off of Gager's head right now, being like, "Oh, talk about your hair a little bit."
Kill him.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that looks like you had a lot of time in the Haas wind tunnel with that hair there, Cass. That looks perfect.
It's beautiful. I looked at your hair today. I was like, "Damn, that looks tight." That's solid. Gager, what's up with you, buddy? How's things with you?
Oh God. So, as you know, I've been going through mean tweets for the past few days, which some are really well done. But it's been tough because I slipped and fell on my stairs in my garage. I think I bruised my ribs. They're really sore, so it actually hurts to laugh right now. So it's been double pain of me doing this. So yeah, I'm on the mend, boys. It's tough.
Yeah, hopefully they're healed up within 2 weeks, buddy. We're just over 2 weeks away from the roast. That's gonna suck.
I know. Well, it is a little bit better, but there's some clicking back there. So we'll. I'm like Wolverine. I'll heal up quick.
You'll be all right. Cass, you ever bust up your ribs? You must somewhere along the way playing. Do you crack a few ribs?
No, not playing. The only time I ever busted my ribs was when I was climbing in the middle of winter on the roof of one of my buddy's garages, and I fell off and hit my ribs on the fence. Smart move. Yeah.
Jeez.
That was
That's a bad fall, buddy.
It's so bad. That's the only time. No, other than that, I had banged up ribs, bruised them at times, but never any cracked ribs. No, I got a pretty good barrel chest, so they're pretty.
They're well
thick,
protected.
I think.
Yeah,
they're well protected.
He doesn't have baby backs.
No, he doesn't. That's right.
No.
Chris Abbott's going to join us in a little bit, but let's dive into what we got to talk about. Oilers back-to-backs to wrap up the season, San Jose and then Vancouver. A couple of home games here. I saw little Ben was out on the ice with them at the morning skate today. That's a pretty cool experience for him, and obviously a great relationship that they have with that little guy who's just an absolute beauty. But Gager, what do we got to talk about, buddy? What do you got today?
Well, just staying healthy is the biggest thing here. These games mean absolutely nothing. I would prefer the Mandalorian coming down and putting some of these guys in carbonite till next week, to tell you the truth. I don't think it's I mean, when I hear Leon and Connor talk, and I know that people are going, "Oh, well, he wants to do this, he wants to make sure he locks this up," or Leon maybe going nuts and getting to 60 goals or something. But I really, at this point, I don't think those guys care as much as they would earlier on in their career. I think getting to this playoffs, being healthy, and essentially they're going into a series where they're considered the favorite, right? When you play against other teams, I mean, I haven't seen the other lineups, but a lot of times at this point of the year, there might be some call-ups. Other guys start to play. You might get some kid trying to impress the coaching staff and running around out there and clipping Connor, leg or knee. It's just I just think it's too important to have these guys fresh and ready. They've played a ton of hockey. 2 more games isn't going to make that much of a difference. Let's just put them on ice and wait for next week.
Cass, where do you come out on that?
Yeah, I'm
the Kings last night. There's no Kempe, no Kopitar. They gave some guys a night off.
I get it. I understand the sentiment, but I'm more of the mindset of wanting to keep the momentum going. And because if you sit them now and you sit them the rest of the way, like that's a pretty long chunk in between games, especially when you're heading to the playoffs. Now it's not like forever. It's not like it's 3 weeks or anything, but I don't know. I would rather have them at least for one game have let's call it a resting game where you're playing them very limited minutes. You're not, you're basically playing them like they're your fourth line.
So you're playing them like your fourth line. So they're there, but they're only playing
they're
8
there,
to
but
10
they're only playing 8 to 10 to 12 minutes. Like keep them on the ice, keep the momentum going a little bit, but not. I don't know.
I just don't see Connor McDavid accepting 8 minutes, 10 minutes of ice time.
I don't know. Well, but they might, because it's like, okay, well, what if it's just all just basically play them on the power play? Like let them go out there on the power play and do their thing, and then let everyone else play the difficult minutes. Because I don't know. Like I get you don't want to get them hurt, but I also want to keep some of the positive momentum they've had rolling into the playoffs.
That's a tough balance, man. It's a tough balance. Like I understand why you would. I understand both sides of the argument. Like you want to keep momentum going. This team's been straight fire. Maybe just continue on. Like you've been continue on. Maybe you play them, 8 even strength minutes. They get all the power play time. They play 14, 15 minutes, whatever like that. The only way you can guarantee that they're both there for game 1 on Monday is to not play them in either game, which Leon Draisaitl, I could see maybe McDavid plays both, maybe Draisaitl, because he was banged up, right? And he's been producing, but he hasn't looked, well, he had a hat trick since he came back. But if you watched him play, I don't know if he's physically dominated a game since he's come back. So maybe he could use a little bit of time off, but I'm sure you go forward and I'm sure everything's fine, but man, is it going to suck if we're on Monday's pregame episode sitting there going, damn it, they shouldn't have played that guy on Friday. So tough balance for sure. All these teams go through it, obviously, with the spotlight right now here in Edmonton. It's going to be something that we certainly talk about. Gagey, you split the goalies, obviously. You don't worry about it? Yeah.
1-1. Yeah, let's get them both in there. That's no issue to me. I mean, can you roll 4 lines the whole time and just kind of
you could do that?
Just have the house league rules, like just next 5 up, just go and have it that way.
I think that's what you should do.
Yeah, that kind of makes a little bit more sense to me. Where get everyone playing 10 minutes and who. First up, best dressed, get out there and do it. So
now, I'll agree with you, Gage or Dusty, on this. Like if Draisaitl is banged up, or if any of the guys are banged up, then sit him. Like that's different. That's a different scenario. Like if Leon's got some nagging stuff, then sure, like give him a break. But if not, then Gage, or just roll them. Just go through all 4. Let everybody go. Put your 3rd and 4th line guys in good situations, or all situations, and then just play your top guys in the power play to keep them sharp.
Yeah, you could certainly. I want to see them run it like Marshall's 3-on-3 benches run right now, where you skate as hard as you can back to the bench to get on back in line to come back out, and that's it. There's no lines. It's just next guy up. I went down there yesterday because he went in heavy to the boards, and he was crying a little bit, so I went down just to see if he was okay, and I ended up talking to one of the coaches down there, and I saw Marshall come off the line, and he comes off the ice, he gets back in line, and I got to tell him not to do this, but he gets back in line, and he looks at the kids, he goes, do you mind if I go in front of you? And the kid was like, sure. So Marshall moved up a spot. That's the next kid. Hey, do you mind if I go in front of you? The guy's like, yeah, sure, Marshall. I was just like, dude, you can't do that. Like, just wait your turn. I didn't know he was weaseling that. I wasn't paying attention to the bench. So that little bugger. All right, let's continue with this. Let's go, Cass. Let's go to you next, buddy. What do we got to talk about?
I wanted to talk about the NHL PA Player Pool. My favorite hockey poll of the season. I want to talk about the results of this poll. And I wanted to talk about then the people in the media who are just either blind to it or ignore it, or are just, I don't know if head in the clouds or head in the sand or head somewhere else, like however you want to describe it. But they just are put the blinders on here. So I just want to jump down to one of the categories. And that's the NHLPA. So these are NHL players that get pulled for this. So this is not outsiders. These are not media people. These are not fans. These are not, these are NHL players, and a lot of them.
Should note there's about 500 of them too.
Right. It's not a small pool. Like, a lot of players participate in this. I participated in this back when I was playing. Like, a lot of the guys do it. The question: if you needed to win one game, who is the one skater you want on your team? Austin Matthews does not make an appearance on the list. Who is the best passer? Austin Matthews does not make the list. He does make the list, and the best stick handler, 1.4%. So he obviously voted for himself. Don't know if anyone else voted. Maybe 1 or 2 votes. Now he does get, he is on the which player do you wish you could shoot like at 24%.
Yeah.
Very reasonable.
Just behind Ovi.
Yeah, just behind Ovi. Who is the most complete player? Austin Matthews does not make the list.
There's been a lot of push from people that he is one of the most complete players in the league. So to not see him pop up on that list,
not even close. Not even close. Not even close to being on that list. And I'm not surprised at all that Crosby and Barkov led that one. So for the most complete player, 29.5%, Sidney Crosby, 20.5% voted for Alexander Barkov. And both those make perfect sense to me. Like, they are guys that can play in both ends of the ice, play real hard defensively, play real good in the offensive zone. Totally get that. But, what's just funny to me about this is that people in that Toronto bubble have such a Toronto blinders on. And just even the whole Hart Trophy discussion where it's just like, it probably will be Austin Matthews because of this. But the players in the league know what's going on. Like, the Lester B to me is a way more prestigious award than the Hart Trophy. But I look at this and I go, I think these guys probably got it accurate in that, if you want to be a shooter and you wish you could shoot like someone, Austin Matthews, absolutely on the list. Should he be near the top of that? Absolutely, he should be. But best overall player, not even close. He's not there. It's not a 1A, 1B with Connor. Like, if you need to win one game, who do you want on your team from a player standpoint? Connor McDavid, 42.4%. 42.4%.
It's a runaway. It's a runaway. End of discussion. Like,
next closest was Sidney Crosby. Like, the bottom of the list right now that we see is Nathan McKinnon at 3.3%. Like,
two things here. One, what I do find interesting is that according to the 500 players that responded to this poll, if they're starting a team today, they're taking Barkov ahead of Austin Matthews. Like, Barkov shows up on the most complete player, shows up on the list of guys you want to have on your team to win one game. Like, I think that's the utmost respect for Barkov. The other part of it, Cass, is, Matthews has scored 60 goals this year. Why is he not on that list? What is it that he's missing that he's not? When do they do this? Do they do this like a month ago, or is it a mid-season thing? When you did it, when would you guys do it schedule-wise? Like, I'm finding it curious that a 60-goal guy doesn't appear even with 3% of the vote as far as a guy you'd want on your team.
Well, he's a guy you want on your team, but you have to remember, like, if you need to win one game, like, if you need to score 60 goals in a season, if you need to have one player do that, sure, you could pick Austin Matthews, but Austin Matthews hasn't shown yet at this point that he can be a guy that's going to take you places in the playoffs. Now, that being said, Connor hasn't either. He hasn't taken the Oilers deep either. But I think if you just look at what they're capable of, like, the difference is staggering between the two in terms of the way that they can control a game. Now, if you needed one player on one power play to score a goal, maybe you vote Matthews. Maybe you vote Ovechkin just because he's done it so many times as well. But I don't know. I think it's just kind of telling to what the
I thought it was pretty. I was pretty shocked. Like, I was shocked by the difference between Matthews and McDavid, but I also was a little shocked that McDavid didn't even have more of a percentage. I was surprised McDavid wasn't even at like a 50. That's
probably because he hasn't won any cups. That's probably because he hasn't won any cups yet.
Yeah, you see Sid there with 3 cups, still getting that respect. And he's got 1.25 points per game. Gager, before we go to Chris Abbott, who's waiting here, where do you come out on that? that poll and the results from the players?
I'll just go one little thing, but the biggest thing that stands out for me is the fact that you listen to a lot of these writers that are voting, and it really seems like they got it all wrong, with the way that these 500 guys are voting. But the Alexander Barkov one just stands out to me so big that, like, that guy, he's so skilled, but he just looks so difficult to play against. And Crosby's up there at 29.5. You have Bergeron, and then Connor at 9.2. And but it just goes to show that I don't think a lot of these writers know what they're talking about. Like, these guys are playing against certain players that realize how hard it is to go night in, night out against these guys. And that to me is the most, that would mean the most to me, that most complete player stat, and saying that, oh my gosh, there's 30% of the league think I'm one of the toughest guys to play against. That's a real feather in the cap. So, and yeah, you don't see that's the one category where you think if a guy was up for the Hart Trophy, he would definitely have at least 1% in that category.
All right, let's. Well, I'll quickly lay out we got to talk about it, and we'll tie it into Chris because I'm interested in his answer here. And my question is, which Canadian team? And everybody, I think people are like, well, the obvious answer is this, but which Canadian team going to the playoffs, Edmonton, Calgary, or Toronto, is facing the most pressure? And I think the easiest, you go, it's Toronto. But if Toronto loses to Tampa has won the Stanley Cup 2 times in a row. They just put a bait on them. Like, Tampa has been the best team that we've seen in the league for the last 2 years. If the Oilers lose to the Kings after being swept by the Jets last year, I think you can make a case that maybe it's the Oilers that are facing more pressure, even though it's Toronto and it's the Maple Leafs. It's I just don't know how disappointed you can be in the Leafs if they lose to the bloody Tampa Bay Lightning. But let's go to Chris Abbott from CoolBet. We got lots to discuss with Chris, and he's at his place in Toronto. Chris, how are you doing, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, gentlemen? Good to see y'all.
Yeah, we're doing just fine, man. Where do you come out on that pressure question? Like, it's an interesting way to look at it, really.
Yeah, actually, I like your take on it there, because it's the easy answer is, the pressure's on the Leafs because they haven't done this in 700 years. But I think you're right. I think nobody would also be surprised, and I don't think there's any shame in losing to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Edmonton, they came out of the gates on fire. They had their little dip, and everyone was worried, and they made the coaching change, and now they're back where we thought they'd be. So I don't know if there's pressure is not maybe the word I'd use, but I would expect an Edmonton win more than I would expect a Toronto win. And I guess you guys live in the market, so I'm not seeing it every day, but I suppose that, it's likely not at the level of, Marner and Matthews and whoever's in net can't get it done, and that narrative. I guess as we go on with McDavid and Draisaitl, they need to do something too, right? They haven't had a whole lot of support in their endeavors, and that's made it difficult. But yeah, I think both teams are kind of in the same kind of situation there, but I think it would be more disappointing if Edmonton were to go out for sure.
Cass, where do you come out of that?
It's tough between the two. I obviously would be more disappointed if Edmonton loses than if Toronto loses, but that's very personal because I hate the Maple Leafs. The pressure to me is different. And I think Chris kind of touched on it a little bit there where, in Edmonton, like if Edmonton were to lose, I don't think in the Edmonton market we would sit here saying like, it's an inability of McDavid or Draisaitl to get it done. We probably would sit here and say, and most people would say, it's been an inability of management to support them with the players and the people around them that they need to have success. Where in Toronto, that pressure is like on the individual player. So I think maybe there's, let's call it broader organizational pressure or pressure on management in Edmonton that's greater. And I think pressure on individual players in Toronto that's greater. Where if Toronto doesn't win, it's like, well, it's Austin Matthews' fault. It's Mitch Marner's fault. It's not necessarily management's fault. I mean, they probably still would take heat, obviously, in the scenario, but I kind of feel like there's different types of pressure between the two teams.
Gager?
Yeah, I would say it's more on the Edmonton Kings series, just because I think that Edmonton goes in being a favorite. That's out of all the Canadian teams. So that's what rings to me the most is they're supposed to win this series. So that hasn't gone well for the Oilers in the past 2 playoffs that they've been a part of, because the other team's kind of taken it to them. But yeah, I mean, when you have, and it's not like Matthews and Marner haven't had great seasons as well, but when you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and doing the things that they've done throughout the year and with their point totals, I think just a lot more pressure falls on those guys than out east.
Chris Abbott with us from Cool Bet. Chris, we were talking about that players poll, the NHLPA players poll. I'm not sure if you had a chance to check it out, but it was there was the one question: if you had one player on your team in the league to help you win one game, who would it be? And McDavid had like 42.2% of the vote. Crosby was down around, I think, was it 17 guys, something like that. And then it was Hedman, Barkov, and McKinnon. And a guy who just scored 60 goals didn't pop up on that list. And I was, Cass kind of laid it out earlier. And I said, why? Like, why do you think that is? Chris, do you think it's because of the spotlight in Toronto maybe and the lack of playoff success that he hasn't got the respect of his peers maybe around the league just yet?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that it's a peer poll too. Like I think one of you guys mentioned it, like maybe that says how guys view him as well. But, he and Marner have had, unbelievable regular season success. Like Matthews may go down as one of the best regular season players in the history of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that's saying something. But yeah, they've never got it done. So if he scores 62 goals this regular season and they still lose in the first round, what does he have to score 70 next year? Does Marner have to get 115 points? Like, it really, at the end of the day, doesn't matter. So that one's interesting to me. I guess goalies weren't on that list because my answer would be Vasilevsky.
They are.
Yeah.
It's funny because Carey Price picks up 13.9% of the vote.
Yeah,
as a second, and he hasn't played.
Like, you guys know hockey. If you're in Game 7, you need one guy to stand on his head or be the best player. It's not your top line center. It's your goalie has to be the best player. So that would be my answer there. But that's just the way I view games like that. But so yeah, I mean, also Connor McDavid is head and shoulders better than anybody in the league. Like, there's nobody even close to him when he's going full tilt. And anyone who pretends that there's a comparison to be made, I'm not buying it. That's just how good I think he is. And I guess the other players see him that way as well.
Chris, I know it's cool bet, stay cool, bet responsibly. Tuesday night, I happened to put my entire account on a Tampa Bay, Minnesota parlay, and Minnesota blew a lead against Arizona in the second period, and I lost the entire account. So I'll start over anyway, but I like the challenge of building it back up. I mean, I would have rather won that bet, but how do you approach betting like over these final couple of days? Because I mean, Arizona's probably screwed a few guys, but I'm looking at that Minnesota game. I'm like, you need this to get advantage over St. Louis, and you go out and blow it against the Coyotes. I was playing hockey that night. I kept going back into the room to check my phone just to see if they were going to come back. And when they didn't, I'll just say I took out some anger on the ice. Let's just say that. So stay cool, bet responsibly. But how are you approaching the final days of the NHL regular season?
Yeah, so one thing I never do anymore is bet more than like a couple of units, whatever that might be. Even though it looks like, oh man, I'm putting all the account on this, it's just not smart because it might work out and then you get in bad habits. So, I don't know. One thing I would make sure to do if you're betting on the last few games is make sure you see the lineup come out before you place your bet. I think there's going to be guys playing in different positions on different rosters. There's guys going to be sitting out. There's going to be maybe a backup goalie here or there. There might be, for a team that's out of it, they might have a bunch of young guys from their AHL team or junior guys or whatever. So I would say first, make sure you check the lineups before you put your bets in. That would be the smartest thing to do. And then the NHL is just so unpredictable. I mean, we're talking about the Leafs and Gager mentioned the Oilers and how they're a favorite and they should do it. Well, the Leafs this year in games where they're minus 400 or better, did not have a good record. I don't have it in front of me, but I know I capitalized on the other teams frequently. So always be wary of those massive favorites for sure, and how you play it. And it's tricky. Maybe I would never say stay away, because I can't even watch a game anymore without having a little bit of action on it. Just make sure you have a little bit more knowledge, because the lineup is probably going to look a little bit different than it normally does.
Hey, before I let you go, you guys take some action on the NFL draft tonight? Like, will that move the needle for you guys, or is it just kind of the hardcores like myself who might have a few bets on that?
We will take action. People love it. I myself, I tweeted earlier today that I need to use the word draft, because I don't know any of these guys. I used to watch college football when I worked at Oddshark. And, I knew a few guys, but I mean, really, come on. I don't care. Show me those guys on week 1. I really do not care about the draft. I think it just speaks to the absolute mammoth of a just wave that the NFL is, and how much bigger it is than any other sport that we pretend is also a major sport. Like they say the 4 major sports, it's like the NFL and everybody else. Like it's not.
That's true. Close. It's kind of beyond that. You're right. They'd all strive to be where the NFL is at. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think the NFL is maybe next would be the Premier League or the Champions League, but nothing in North America even comes close. The NBA guys get money because the rosters are smaller, but the NFL is just dominant. So, the fact that they had an announcement to announce when they were going to announce their schedule, and that caught news that tells you all you need to know.
Kind of a big deal. Chris, thanks for popping by, buddy. We appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, my pleasure, guys. I'm going to go sweat out the Vladimir Guerrero-less Blue Jays at the Rogers Center today, where Raymel Tapia is batting 4th. So I never like to bet on the visitors, but I think I'm going to have to bet the Red Sox in this one.
Have fun, buddy. We'll talk to you later. That's Chris Abbott. Nice to be able to just walk over and go to the Jays game. That's pretty convenient. All right, before we wrap up this episode, guys, go ahead, Gager. What are you going to say?
Dusty. I just saw in the poll where Austin Matthews did make one of the polls at 11.8%, because he was the second best player to follow on social media. So maybe that has something to do with the Hart, being it's a media-based vote. So, that's why he's probably going to win the Hart, because he's
behind behind PK Subban.
Yeah, he's good on the gram.
Good on the gram. All right. So we got the Roast of Gager coming up in 2 weeks tomorrow. And we threw it out on Twitter with Kid Sport Edmonton to send your mean tweets in. And Gager was going to read 4 or 5 or 6 of those mean tweets right now and then pick a winner. And that winner will get 2 tickets to come and join us. I think there's 8 tables left to sell. Tickets are up until May 8th, and we're going to be auctioning off a table on my radio show next week. So watch for that. Cass, any other details that we need to know here?
I think there's less tables available now.
Is there? Okay, good.
This morning. So there may even be less now. So if you're thinking of going, you gotta get moving on it. Got to get moving on it here. Still, there's still a couple spots at the community table too. So if you want to buy some tickets, hang out with some other fans, want to get to know some people, then make sure you type community ticket in the notes when you buy your ticket.
I'm going to be going 100 miles per hour that night. I'm having a good time. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be fun.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't even know exactly like where I'm going to slot in. Like what I'm going to have to be doing in terms of official role that night. But regardless, I'm going to be running around and giggling the whole time.
I think I have a meeting today or tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Might be tomorrow. I've got a meeting today or tomorrow. I got Hockey Helps a Homeless meeting one of these 2 days, and then roast meeting. I'll find out which one it is when I click on at 12:15 today. So we'll see. It's a nice surprise, I guess. All right, Gager. So we've got some mean tweets there in front of you. Do you have some tissues around just in case you start laughing and then you start crying because of your ribs?
I'll be all right. This one's good too. It hurts. This do you want me to say the guy, the Mark?
Yeah, you can give him the handle for sure. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's Mark Coolhaw, I think, but his is pretty good. Becoming an expert NHL analyst, in quotations, after 23 starts and historically terrible stats, is like becoming a cable guy after plugging in a TV. Oh wait, so that was pretty good with that one. Let me go to the ones that you sent, Dusty, because
there's a few good ones there.
There's a few good ones in here. Oh, I'll read this one. This is from Surveyor Brett. Not going to lie, I honestly thought he was just really a reliable e-bug who lived nearby. Didn't know they actually drafted him and all that. Good for him, I guess. that one was pretty good. Let me see. Hold on. Did you send? Here we go. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for just highlighting these ones, Dusty. That's really good. But
you read them.
This one's really good from Nathan. I would make a joke about his goaltending, but it would probably go over his head or above his blocker or through the 5-hole or high glove side or low blocker. That's a good one, Nathan. Yeah. Keep your head up, Nathan. If you win, this one's good. Is it Dange Russ K? Gager winning the heart of the English League is like a high school dropout winning grade 2 spelling bee. That's great fun from today. Jesus.
At least they know you won the heart, buddy.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one. I missed that one.
That's
a good one.
And then let's. This one's pretty good from X Doug. Joaquin Gage has the net stance of Ralphie's little brother from The Christmas Story in his snowsuit and the face of a thrift shop Howie Mandel. So those are some of the stuff I've been dealing with over the past few days, and basically curled up in a ball with a bad back, sucking my thumb. So thanks for all these guys.
Who wins, Gager? Who wins?
God, I think we might have to go with the Surveyor Brett one, Dusty.
Yeah, you like that one? Yeah,
I like that one. That was good. That was really good.
So read that one out loud again. Surveyor Brett, you're going to win some tickets.
Okay, Surveyor Brett, you just lost it there. Did you send that one to me, Dusty?
You send it into our group text.
I've got it here. Yeah, I can read it.
Yeah,
Surveyor Brett. Yeah.
I got it, Cass. I got it.
Okay,
Cass.
go ahead.
I'm not going to lie. I honestly thought he was just a really reliable e-bug who lived nearby. Didn't know they actually drafted him and all that. Good for him, I guess. So good job, Surveyor Brett. That was awesome. Thank you for everyone taking the time to demolish me on social media. Let's we'll see at the roast.
Yeah, there's going to be good. Yeah, a lot more heat like that. So make sure you get your tickets today.
There's going to be a lot worse things said. I promise you that. It's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a fun night. All right. So once again, there's less than 8 tables remaining. We're going to auction one off on the Nielsen show next week. So watch for that. We're promising you a very entertaining night. Mac T's roasting, isn't he?
Yeah, Mac T's going to be there.
Perfect.
He was giving me. He was previewing me some of the material, Gager. I was walking over. We were walking downtown, going to the Alzheimer's thing the other day, and he started giving me a little bit, just a little.
He's a real funny guy. I think I said this on the when we did the face-off for the All-Star game there, and he said, "Now my career is complete after taking a draw against me." So that was pretty fun.
Oh, it's going to be good. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. If you need more information, obviously, KS Edmonton on Twitter and Surveyor Brett, somebody will be in touch. We'll get you those 2 tickets. Boys, enjoy the next back-to-back games. Monday, we'll be teeing up game 1 of an Oilers-Kings series. It should be amazing. Have a great weekend, boys. As always, 2 Guys a Goalie is brought to you by CoolBet, and we'll talk to you Monday, guys.
Later, boys.